Hello, everybody. So, the new year has begun, and I thought I want to hopefully post more to my YouTube channel, get more content out there between songs and everything, between colors and my original music here. And I thought, what other way to be fresh and original than to go back to last year to my first song that I released and talk about what I would do differently. So, some context about 7-String Bliss, because that's the song I'm going back on. It was the first song that I ever wrote. I thought it sounded catchy and was good, and the moment I got really into recording and everything, especially after my first semester of college, I thought I want to get more into it, and I knew that that was the first song I wanted to record. And so it was the first song I released at the end of 2017, like the last day of 2017. And now that I know more about like recording, mixing, and mastering, I just want to go and look at how bad I was back then and basically talk about what I would do differently if I remixed it and mastered it today. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the drums, because basically a lot of my music from 7-String Bliss through the 3A Chronicles, I had this problem where the drums all sounded like not so clean and everything, even with Blur. It wasn't until like September where I figured out what I was doing wrong. I kind of feel like an idiot for it. Basically, I would have all the drums in one audio track, and then I didn't even put EQ on the drums in this one because there's no EQ on any of these really. Like none that I put. Like if anything, it's the EQ that the GarageBand sets. Well then, never mind about my EQ thing. I'll probably go into that on another video. So I would typically do this. I would put all the drum tracks, like, the kick, the snare, the crash and everything, all in one, and just thought it'd be good. I never thought about it. I just thought, since it was MIDI, it didn't need to be like that, but it definitely does. Because when the EQ is trying to like fight for the same frequencies, and like a kick is trying to fight for 10k hertz while a crash is trying to fight for that same 10k, it muddies up the sound so much. And so if I did this today, I would definitely do what I typically do, and I would just, basically just duplicate the software 4 times. So Alright, so 4 times, and then put the same drum track in all 4.
All 4 drum tracks.
Let's see. Name my drum track. So I'm going to have the top one be cymbals. This is how I typically do it now. Get a nice, good, clean sound for everything. So,
Cymbals, toms, snare, and kick.
And then after I do that, I basically just take everything out that does not go with that set. Thankfully, I wrote the drums for this, so it's like not too complicated. It wasn't too complicated. There wasn't a lot going on, I guess, so I'm not good at writing drum parts. Anyways, so after I do that, I just go through and EQ everything. So like for the kick, I'd depending on what I want to do, I'd kind of go between standard kick and rock kick. I think for this one I'm going to go standard, but with the snare, I usually do the standard snare or the rock snare, and I think I'm just going to do standard snare for this one. And then the toms, I just use a tom EQ, just as toms, and then just cymbal EQ. Because they're not all fighting for the same frequencies now. There might be some that like kind of cross, but for the most part they're, going for their own frequencies, and it just sounds cleaner. Let's see, so now, after I do that, I would also go back to alright, so for the overdrive lead, I typically like to go with the presets on GarageBand. I think they sound nice. I don't think what I've worked with, it doesn't sound too bad. It just gives it a cleaner sound. I'm never too disappointed with going with the presets. For my lead, I typically go picked electric. Yeah, it just sounds a little more muddy without the EQ on it. Just nice, clean, and present. Alright, and since the British Invasion guitar, the intro lead, the clean up guitar gives a little more bass boost to it. So I'm just going to go with that because it has a little more bass boost to it. And then for the electric bass, I typically just go with the electric bass EQ. And now I'm going to remix it too because the drums are different. Everything's different now. Oh, I got to get rid of my...
Oh, man. Some quick little... I'm not going to get rid of everything. Then, boom. Alright, and now I just gotta...
So yeah, I'm just going to mix this now. Start from the drums. What I'm going to do is just go from the drums, then do the bass, and then do the main lead, and then just kind of go back and get a nice sound for the clean lead to kind of like go into, and then work on the fade ins and outs. For me, the kick is the most important instrument to get right when doing the master. Typically because everything else I kind of build up around the kick because I want to be able to still hear the kick while everything else is going. So I just gotta, I don't want to bring it up to like basically negative 0.5 because I don't want it that close to 0, but I don't want it at like negative 19 and have room to work with. So negative 5 seemed nice. Just a nice negative. Through this last chord, it's just more of me knowing where the fade should go in and out basically in both of them. Because this happens twice, once in the beginning and once in the end. Actually, I think that one sounds more natural. Let's see what it sounds like without having the decline in the lead. Actually, oh man, that actually sounds better. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. Maybe where that chord ends, that's where this one just cuts out. Yeah.
Just a nice little, what was it, 10? Negative 10? Close enough. And then just kind of decrease that one. Maybe take a note from what I just did. Wait till later. Yeah, but that one just cuts off so abruptly. Yeah, let go of it. It's kind of like a... Maybe it's like right after.
And then diminuendo on that last note, just fade out. If I re-recorded this like today or like, anytime recently, I would have held that out for 4 measures instead of these 2 to have a more natural sounding like fade out. I don't think I can make it sound too natural with this. I think that's as the best I'm going to be able to get it, but I'm fine with it. Let's see. This song, just 3 instruments, lead guitar, bass, and drums. I'll have a comparison of the 2 versions at the end of the video, just like 15 seconds of each to kind of give like a comparison. You know, live and learn. I'm getting better as a producer, engineer. But yes, this is what 7-string Bliss would turn out like if I mix and master this today. And so, you know, maybe next time I'll either do some sax song or dive into the 3A Chronicles, because Blur and Before I would do differently because I was not quite understanding about how to do things differently yet. So let me know if you want to see another one of these videos. I enjoyed making it, just kind of going back to this. So yeah, that was me remixing 7-string Bliss. I hope you enjoyed this, getting into how I like engineer things. That's it. I just hope you all have a great rest of your day. See you.